Hey everybody, Professor Benelo here with video number 1 out of a series of 3 discussing the Unit 2 discussion board. In this short video, I will be discussing the assignment in general. And then the second video, I will be going over the first 3 topics you can go and discuss in your Unit 2 discussion board. And in the third and final video, I'll be going over the last 3 of the topics you can choose from. There are 6 topics to choose from. You choose 1. Okay, so here we go. Unit 2 discussion board. Remember, my dear students, you have 2 very important discussion board assignments in this course. The first, of course, is Unit 2 discussion board. Keep in mind that discussion board assignments are broken down into 2 very important due dates. The first due date that you have to remember is Friday, July 17th. Your initial discussion board post is going to be due Friday, July 17th by 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then the second due date is Tuesday, July 21st, where you have your peer responses due. And we will get into that in one moment. Okay, so your initial discussion board requirement, you have to choose one topic out of the 6. You're going to be analyzing a primary document. A primary document is a document that was written during the time period of history you are studying. Okay, so just for an example, the Declaration of Independence is a primary document from the American Revolution. Okay, we'll get into primary documents in one sec. So you have a list of 6 of them. You choose one of them from the topic list. Using the primary source reading, answer the following questions. So the context section, this is broken down into 3 sections. Don't get overwhelmed. Just take it section by section and you'll be fine. So the context section is worth 20 points. Firstly, name the document you chose to analyze. Secondly, who's the creator of the document? Thirdly, briefly describe the creator of the document. And fourthly, and finally in this section, when and where was the document created? That's the context section. Okay, summary is the next section, which is worth 20 points. You need to write a brief summary of the source. What's the topic or issue covered by the source? What's the creator's main point about that topic or points about that topic? And what is one interesting thing said in the source? That's the summary. Then thirdly and finally, for the initial discussion board post, how does the source help you better understand what you learned in the Unit 2 learning materials, particularly in telepath? Get into that. Does it support what you already knew about the topic? If so, how? Or does this source change the way you think about the topic? If so, how? Okay, so you're probably thinking, well, that's all well and good that you say I have to analyze a primary document, but what is a primary document exactly? Primary document is a document that was written during the period of history you are studying, okay? Within this assignment, you're asked to describe the document read, the circumstances under which it was created, and how this document still impacts us today. If you're still wondering what a primary document is, I have 2 incredible links that will explain it for you. So delve into that. Okay, so your topic list. You have the Bay of Pigs. The primary document involved in that topic is a letter written by presidential advisor Richard N. Goodwin to President Kennedy regarding the Bay of Pigs. The second is the Cuban Missile Crisis. This is actually a YouTube video, and it's President Kennedy addressing the American public regarding the Cuban Missile Crisis. The third topic covers the Vietnam War protests. This is a speech that John Kerry gave in front of Congress, and he was a member of the Veterans Against the War. And basically this was a group, Vietnam Veterans Against the War, This was a group of Vietnam veterans who were speaking out against the war, and Kerry is speaking out against the war in this speech. He gave this speech in 1971, so important. The women's rights movement, the primary document for that topic is the founding document for the National Organization of Women. The National Organization of Women is still a viable group today. It's still around today. And basically, this is their founding document from October 1966. Okay, the Chicano rights movement is an article regarding Cesar Chavez and the work of the United Farm Workers. And it's an interview with Cesar Chavez, partly an interview with Cesar Chavez. So that has to do with the Chicano rights movement. And then the last document is an article about the Black Power movement and the Black Panthers and basically the status of the civil rights movement. Okay, so very, very important. Okay, so your peer responses. By July 21st, you have to respond to 2 of your classmates. Okay, and I love my students. You all are very, very supportive of one another. But just don't leave it as, Diane, you did a great job. I think you answered all the questions. You hit all the main points. Super job. I enjoyed reading your post. Well, that is incredibly nice and supportive. I want you to go beyond that. And I want you to tailor your response to your classmates' post. So if you answer the following 4 questions, you won't have a problem doing that. So firstly, what did you learn from your classmates' post? Are there connections between what you learned from your source and what you learned about their source? Thirdly, what is one interesting thing you learned from your fellow students' post? And lastly, what clarification do you need regarding the post? Okay. Now, this is the grading criteria sheet. On July 22nd, when I begin the process of grading your discussion board, this is what I will be using to grade it. So firstly, the context section. Student identifies the creator, including a brief description. Student identifies when and where the document was created. My comments, how many points out of 20? Secondly, summary. Student fully summarizes the document, identifying the main topic, the main points, and at least one interesting detail. My comments, how many points out of 20? Connection. Student identifies connection between the primary source and the learning materials. So in other words, how did reading this primary source help you better understand the Unit 2 learning materials, and in particular Unit 2 in Telepath? Okay. Student includes a discussion of how the source expanded or changed their previous knowledge. My comments, how many points out of 15? Peer responses. Student responds to at least 2 of his or her peers. You respond to 2 of your classmates by the July 21st deadline, you will get the 10 points. Okay, easy peasy. So be sure to get your responses in. Okay, don't lose points for that. Response content. Peer responses adds new depth or insight to the conversation and encourages further conversation. I feel encourages further conversations pretty key. My comments, how many points out of 5? Academic writing. Student uses proper spelling, punctuation, and grammar to write clearly and effectively. References, if provided, are in APA format. My comments, how many points out of 5? I tally it up and put it over the 75 points because this is worth 75 points. Okay, so again, the pertinent information for this, your initial discussion board post is due Friday, July 17th, and your peer responses are due July 21st. As always, you can contact me during my office hours, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on Mondays, or you can always email me through my email address, lbenelou@coloradotech.edu. And of course, you can always use the C2 Messenger portion of the C2 app and contact me that way. All right, everybody, this is it for this short video. I will see you in a little bit for the second video discussing the first 3 topics.